Shadow is more important than Sonic, and I think over the last half a decade we've seen a huge shift in what people think of this character. Not only has this character just simply got the potential there to be delved with from a story and narrative perspective that we finally actually seen discovered in the last few years in various projects, but I also think that Sega themselves as well have been able to see the potential that's there. This is a character that is getting heavily pushed in marketing. It's a character that's getting heavily pushed as the main character, or one of the main characters I should say, in this franchise. He is a character that, as we've seen in their most recent promotion for things like Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, they're not afraid to be the guy that beats Sonic. This is a character that has been obviously hugely rectified, I guess is the word, from the movies as well. This is a character that people now want to see over Sonic. This is a character that is not only probably, in my opinion, more popular now, at least I feel that way, but I feel like this is a character that people are just more interested to see. I think he's got more depth to him, and I just want to discuss why I feel like he is the more important character now, and going forwards I feel like this is the character that they need to be pushing. This is the character that has more potential from a game perspective, from a narrative perspective, and yeah, I just want to delve into that topic a little bit. Let me know in the comments how you feel about Shadow as a character. Do you feel like he's the most important character of the franchise? Do you feel like going forwards they kind of should just do what they kind of did before this renaissance, before the year of Shadow, where they kind of just sidelined him as a character? He was just a little cameo that would pop up every now and then. Obviously he always looked cool, but yeah, let me know in the comments. Do you think he should be the most important character? Would you consider him the most important character? I personally would, and there's a couple of reasons for that. And first and foremost, I just want to get the most obvious out of the way with, and that is the marketing. Sega have quite obviously wanted to push this character. They've really embraced the potential of this character. Not only has the writing for the games got so much better, which we've seen with Sonic X Shadow Generations, we've seen just the portrayal of the character in marketing, in obviously the movie as well, which is kind of the main starter point for the renaissance of this character, as it was with Knuckles as well, but even more so with Shadow, because going on to my next point, this is a character that has way more depth to him. This is an anti-hero. This is a character with a grey area, with discussion points. This isn't a Sonic where 99% of the time it's just right or wrong. This character is trying to destroy the world, he does wrong. This character is trying to save everyone, obviously being Sonic, so he's in the right. It's so nice having a character that, you know, has such a grey area in the sense that he is so consumed by vengeance, the love that he has for other people, that, you know, in Sonic Movie 3, for example, he's not afraid to just simply end the world because he's so built up in anger for being locked away for 50 years, for the only people that he ever cared about being put away. Is what the character's doing right? Obviously not, and we know that, but he's still lovable because we can still kind of understand, you know, his intent. We understand why he feels the way he does. We understand that this isn't necessarily an evil soul, this is just simply a broken one, and you don't really ever get that level of depth with a character like Sonic. It's just always a case of he can do right, and this is more stuff that I'd love them to dive into with the games. I'd love them to dive more into that sort of vengeance, that sort of you know, the manipulation of, you know, obviously characters like Gerald in Adventure 2 and in the movies. You know, they do manipulate him. I will always refer back to mainly Adventure 2 and the movie, because those are the two projects, and Sonic X Shadow Generation, sorry, does fit into this category, where he's been done the most justice by far. And he's just such a more interesting character, in my opinion, not only from a design and abilities perspective that gives him potential for the games, but also certainly from a narrative perspective as well, which I think going forwards, and sort of in general, has kind of always made him a more interesting character. But because Sega's finally pushed him marketing-wise over the last few years, we've actually seen a renaissance in that kind of popularity now. And going on to my next point, I feel like Sega themselves know this, that we've seen a huge change in the shift in marketing, in the sense that Sega used to never touch any other character. They used to not care about any other character. It was always, Sonic has this kind of gallery of friends that you'd always see alongside him in sort of racing games, or, you know, the Olympics, whatever it might be. But in the mainline games, it was always Sonic. it was always Sonic. He was always the main guy. Now, over the last few years, I mean, Sonic X Shadow Generations, I mean, he is literally the game. He is the drawing point to that game. And not only is he that because I think that's a generally better game anyway than Sonic Generations' portion, and again, it's got a better, more intriguing narrative that kind of does the character even more justice and further fleshes him out. But Sega themselves generally knew that Shadow was popular. They knew that he needed to be put front and center of the marketing, not only because it was new content, but because it was the more interesting content. Obviously, the main reason why Sonic Movie 3's probably made more money than 2 and 1 is because Shadow, again, just draws people into projects. He's an interesting character to see. It's a character that again, you know, he was the main reason why that was the strongest Sonic movie, because from a narrative perspective, from a growth perspective, he had the most potential. And again, look at the marketing for Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. We have again seen the character front and center for the marketing. He was literally the character that was in the teaser. He was the character that was used in the main intro cutscene for that game, where he actually goes on and wins against Sonic. You know, they are not afraid to actually say, in some ways, this character is cooler than Sonic. They've been trying to portray him as being just as cool as Sonic and being able to, you know, defeat Sonic at times as well. And it's great to see, because it shows more flaw towards Sonic as well, which I think only makes him a more lovable character. But obviously they're trying to push Shadow as well as this really cool, you know, sort of figure, which they've been doing an incredible job at doing. But I think for the future going forwards now, Shadow is a character that needs to be put more front and center. I think he is a character now that I generally believe has the potential to have his own game. I really hope he gets his own movie project, but I think he genuinely does have certainly the most potential for his own game now. If we're ever going to get a solo, you know, kind of side project, it has to be Shadow. I think Sega now has more competence now than ever with these characters. They've been doing these characters more justice now than ever. You know, to be able to sort of, for me to just have faith in the fact that I know what they're doing with these characters. And I'm hoping going forwards as well, they keep pushing him in marketing. I'm not saying that Sonic needs to be, you know, he is the mascot of the franchise, he is the franchise, he always technically will be. But I think Shadow is definitely just as interesting and is a main draw now towards this franchise. And to me anyway, he's more important going forwards. I want to see this character more. I'm more excited to see this character more going forwards than Sonic, and I feel like a lot of people used to feel that way with Sonic Adventure 2, but obviously we've had a decade of this character and so many other characters as well, obviously being so sidelined, and you know, even Sonic himself being such a bland and unwell written character up until Forces, well, including Forces, obviously. It's very nice to see that these characters are being reborn. These characters are being, you know, reintroduced and rewritten, really. You know, being made more compelling, being delved deeper into just simply the aspects that made them more compelling. And like I said, hopefully they do push Shadow going forwards. We're obviously going to see him more inside side games like Crossworlds and stuff like that. You know, future projects we will see him again, but in the mainline game, please make him playable, please make him play a part in the story, even if it is just, you know, if they're too far into development and they've decided not to do that, which I hope they haven't, but at least put him in the cutscenes in some capacity. Don't just completely abandon him like they did in Frontiers. Also, you know, Sonic Movie 4, we're guaranteed to obviously, I feel, see Shadow. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility that he returns. He literally is shown it, you know, heavily in Sonic Movie 3 is the main sort of draw to Sonic Movie 3. I'd be very shocked if they didn't include him in a big chunk of Sonic Movie 4 as well, so I think we can be excited to see him there as well. I think that's safe to say. But yeah, again, let me know down in the comments what you think of Shadow. Do you think he's the most important draw to the franchise, the most important character to the franchise? And if you did enjoy the discussion, consider subscribing, because we are on the road to 50. Thank you to all of you that are supporting the channel as well. And that's everything I have to say, really. I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.